Okay, are you able to see the agenda?
I am.
Cool. Okay. Well, it looks like it's just gonna be the two of us, but all right. Okay, so this meeting is not as official as our business meetings are. Once you start attending the business meetings, you'll see they're a little bit more formal, I guess. But this is just kind of a basic agenda that I drafted up that we can go through so we kind of stay on track of everything. We don't have any minutes to approve because this is our first meeting, but every meeting we'll look over the minutes from the last one, kind of just go through them. There's no technical approval, I guess we have to do, but it's kind of a refresher for this meeting, I guess. For news business, I have welcome, so welcome. The first thing I wanted to talk about is for all clubs, new and returning, you will have to fill out a club packet, and I don't know why I didn't put it in there, but that will be due the 18th of September. Do you have a club packet yet? No? Okay. I can get you one if you need it. It's in the SGA room in multiple places. And do you know anything about the club allocation that you get as a club? No. Oh, I think you're muted.
Is that the 500 that we get?
Yes. So
Okay.
as a new club, you still get 500 is the technical amount, but you are on probation for the first semester, and then in the spring you'd get the half that would be for the year. So there's 250 for each semester.
Okay.
Let's see. One thing that I was wanting to start to do with the clubs is have kind of a semester by semester review. For the whole year, you do have to submit a end of the year review of your club when you turn in your final packet pretty much for the spring and May. When you do that, that gives you I don't know what the word would be. So like if you finish up in the spring, your club, if you want to have funding for the next year in the fall, you have to submit the end of year packet. So what I was wanting to do is for clubs to maybe get started on a fall semester review. So you're not like trying to finish it up all in like 1 week in the spring. So you can finish the fall semester, and then in the spring you can finish that up. So it's kind of like it's not have to be all done at once. All right. For the club cards, I'm going to pull up something really quick. This is one I've drafted up for BSU. It's obviously not done. Can you see it on here? Okay. So this is one I've drafted up for BSU. Basically, we have a spinny thing, is what we call it, in the SGA room, where we're wanting to showcase all the different clubs on campus, where it has their name, maybe a logo, a little description of what the club is on the front. Also feature like when their meeting times are, maybe a club picture, social medias. We're wanting to put those out so people, when they come in, they can look at the spinny thing and see like, oh, these are all the clubs that are active, or at least have been active in the past on campus. I can make those. I would just need the information, like what you want the description to be of your club, what logo you want to put, what picture, when your meeting times are, those kinds of things. So if you're wanting to definitely do that, I can definitely get started on that. If you can give me that kind of information, that'd be awesome. And like I said, we're wanting to do that for all the clubs because we'd love to have the whole thing filled with every club on campus. So let's see. going to remove this real quick. Jazz ditched me. Okay, so we don't have any old business because this is the first meeting, but moving on to discussion. It is only the two of us technically, but what I have been calling this when I came up with it is the iREMs method, I guess. This is the only way I can put it. So basically, I for club identity, R for club recruitment, E for events, M for marketing, and S for club structure. So starting with club identity, I really wanted to have a good discussion on this. So I was hoping more people would have come because I think it would have been a really good discussion. But for your club personally, like what do you think your identity of the club is for Pride Club?
Oh gosh, I drew a blank, I'm sorry.
It's okay.
For Pride, I mean, the main thing for identity is just making sure that everybody feels safe and
Right.
that they have some place to go and people to talk to that are the same people as us.
Right.
Because if we don't have a club specifically for us, then it's almost like we're leaving people out.
Mm.
And me and Scott were talking about, maybe if we didn't catch that many people at the table, getting a card out there that says, hey, we're here, as well.
Yeah. So I know you said you haven't filled out the club packet yet, but have you like come up with a mission statement for something like that for your club at all?
Me and Dr. Kirkland are working on it currently.
Okay, cool. Awesome. Moving on to recruitment. I don't know if you have any experience in like recruiting on clubs or anything. I certainly don't. But I was wondering, do you know a whole lot about like how to recruit and what ways you can recruit on campus or just in the community in general?
Kind of, but brush over it for me.
Okay, so I feel like recruitment can cover a whole lot of things. It can be like simple conversations like what we're having. Like, for example, yesterday someone came into the SGA room and was looking at what kind of clubs were on campus. And so it was just, we kind of just were talking back and forth about what we were interested in, what I thought she might be interested in, and even that kind of things. It may have been like she was thinking about joining a club, but just having that conversation with her may have encouraged her to think, oh, well, what about SGA too? Or what about so and so? So I think for me personally, I think just being able to have conversations with people and getting that personal connection, I guess, is really important when it comes to recruiting, and not like the business side, because no one likes the business side of things most of the time. Okay. For events, have you ever like put on an event? Like, have you ever hosted an event or planned an event?
Yes, several.
Okay, cool.
They were all in Birmingham, but they were all Pride events.
Cool.
Parades, drag shows,
Nice.
a bunch of different events.
Okay, so you kind of know.
Yeah, the community in Birmingham is huge compared to Panama City is not.
Really? Hopefully next month when hopefully we'll have a couple more people, but I definitely wanted to zone in more on events next month with our ICC meeting. I kind of want to have a roundtable discussion on events, like planning one out, like we're going to plan an event at that meeting just to like throw ideas around, because I feel like that's the main thing to actually like get it.
I know me and Dr. Kirkland were talking, and I've got to talk to Chaz about it too, but we were talking about maybe doing a drag show.
That would be cool. That would be pretty
cool. Or having drag game night.
Yeah.
Or having, what was it? Movie night.
That'd be cool.
Where it's nothing but like history and stuff like that, like Priscilla, Queen of the Desert, and Tu Wong Fu.
Yeah, I remember, I think it was probably my first year at Gulf Coast. It wasn't a Gulf Coast event, it was an FSUPC event, but they did drag bingo.
Yes, and see, the lady that is over Bay County Pride, her name is, it's Arlene and Cynthia. They actually run part of the one at FSU, so I'm actually getting in contact with her to bring her here.
That'd be awesome.
As well.
That'd be really cool. But yeah, go ahead.
We've also talked about combining with FSU on a couple of different things as well. Like if they have a better idea about drag shows, then we'll go there. But we're
Yeah.
trying to do it as much as possible.
Especially because with our alliance with FSUPC through SABA, BSU, for example, is the first club that's kind of connected between FSU, PC, and Gulf Coast. So that it would be an awesome thing for a Pride Club too, is to have like a connection on both sides to establish maybe a bigger part of the college as a whole and community.
Absolutely.
But a little bit more with events. I feel like some people think that they have to do events to be a club, which isn't necessarily true, I don't think. I'm kind of saying this for the recording too in hopes people will watch it. But I feel like clubs can also just be about a group of people that have similar interests just getting together and talking. It doesn't have to be like a big show thing where some people think it does, but it doesn't have to be. It can be whatever you want it to be.
Gotcha.
Marketing, kind of marketing events and marketing as a whole. I'm going to ask you do you have a logo? Like, are you wanting to make a logo for your club? Because personally, I think that's kind of a really big thing when it comes to brand identity, is having a logo that establishes you as like you.
I've been trying to create one for a while now. I just haven't yet. Because with him, we were trying to decide if we're going to do Pride or if it's going to be Pride on campus. Because FSU calls theirs something completely different. But I like Pride on campus because it's here kind of thing. Or if we just left it at Pride. So that's the other thing me and him have to talk about, which one we're going with, because I can't create a logo until then.
Right. Because you're talking about like the name, like actual name of the club, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Because I know last year it was GSA. Yeah.
We are going to do away with GSA. We are going to at least have Pride in the name.
Mm-hmm.
And that's just because me and Dr. Kirkland feel like that's more inclusive to everybody. We don't have to do the alphabet, as I call it. And then it just is more welcoming sounding to us. So.
Okay, cool.
Go back to this Pride at least.
Yeah. With marketing though, trying to think, my brain's at a blank right now. I'm trying to go a little bit quicker because I know you have to leave in about 10 minutes. Let's see. I lost my train of thought. Okay, I'm going to show this because it's right in front of me. But like what I was talking about with the club cards, that's kind of a marketing thing too, like having those displayed and all over campus. I don't know if you've ever used Canva, but Canva is amazing for creating flyers.
CANVA?
CANVA.com, yeah. That's what I used to use, and I know a lot of like the e-board always uses Canva because it's really simple graphic design. It has a bunch of already like pre-made assets for you to use, and it's really simple to making like flyers or like brochures, which is what this is. So if you even were like wanting to make a brochure, this is another way of marketing things on campus. But yeah, this one's cute. I don't know who made this, but it is cute.
It is.
But like I said, they have on Canva, they have literally anything you can think of, even social media. You can pre-make social media posts on it. And there's also one called Poster My Wall, which is specifically for posters or like flyers. It's a really good one too, an asset to use. Finally, club structure. I'm assuming you probably kind of know like what club structure is, like with the president, vice president kind of thing.
Yeah, that's what I was going to ask you. I know there's president, vice president. What's the other ones?
There isn't really a set things you have to follow. I would say president, vice president, and secretary are the ones you want to have. So like when you're running meetings, you want to have someone that's either specifically secretary or acting as secretary. So if the vice president wants to take both of those on, I guess that could definitely be done. But like for SGA, for example, we've started to build upon what we have. So in SGA, we have to have a president, vice president, and secretary no matter what. But over the past 2 years or so, we've had a treasurer, a parliamentarian, an internal affairs liaison, I'm trying to think, events coordinator. Having multiple descriptions of things that might asset your club that you might not need 1 year, but could use in following years, and putting that like in your bylaws or your constitution could really help your club stay strong even after you leave. And I think that's sometimes a thing people miss is, yes, it's fun to do it like while you're there, but it's even better when you come back 10 years later and see that your club is still going strong.
Yes.
And I feel like that's not really a thing that happens as often, especially because we are a smaller campus. Clubs aren't as involved as a big university. So I'm hoping that over time that can be a thing where like clubs are like really strong in that asset in that way. But yeah.
And then can you have officers as well, or?
Yeah, so those are the ones I was kind of talking about. Like, I'm internal affairs liaison. We have a secretary, events coordinator. Those are all officer positions too. President, vice presidents, those are officers as well. Obviously, those are higher up on the hierarchy, I guess you could say.
Absolutely.
But yeah, you can, and there's even more. Like, and right now we are hoping to establish a wellness chair in SGA, a community service chair, an online engagement chair. So even if we don't have 9 people to fill these positions, or don't necessarily need one of them for a year, they're still there if we ever had someone that came along and was really interested in that kind of thing. So
Gotcha.
it's always nice to have like those descriptions. And like I said, we already have so many with SGA that we're building, and you can always reference ours because they're in our bylaws or soon will be. Okay. That's all I really had from me running my mouth. Did you have anything you wanted to add?
Trying to think. Hold on. I think that's all. I know there's going to be a bunch later, and I have your email now, so I'll finally email you about it.
I did not give that to you, and I feel bad. Hopefully, go ahead.
So how do you go about selecting all of your people? Like, of course, I'm president of my group, but how do I go about selecting vice president? Like, is it more respectful to do like a run for president, or is it more like, hey, we're going to do this and this and this?
So I think it can depend. If, like, I'm just going to use this as an example, like if you're coming up in end of the year, like if it's spring, you can definitely hold elections for the following year to actually have like a specific vote. But like right now, if you have people coming in, it's already the fall, there's not really a place where you can do a vote necessarily, especially with a smaller amount of members. You can always do an appointment. If there's someone that you think would be an awesome fit, you could talk it over with your advisor and see what your advisor's thoughts, and as president too, kind of come to a concise decision. This person would be a really good fit. If there's multiple people wanting to be vice president, maybe you would definitely want to do some sort of a vote. If you have like members in your club, do a small count of hands, like who votes for who, or have a private ballot. That's also something you can break down in your constitution, how you want to vote. And it doesn't have to be like I said, it doesn't have to be like super structured like SGA is, because we're really structured. We have like 2/3 vote is majority, there's quorum, all that kind of stuff, which is important to have when you're running meetings. But I don't think it's a necessity when you're just trying to have a fun club on campus. And I'm trying to think, like I said, if you have like one person only that's like, hey, I'm really interested in being secretary. If there's only one person, then you can appoint them, because if there's only one person, there's no opposition necessarily. And then if you, like right now, I know you don't have as many members as a definite number, because I know you haven't had your first meeting yet, right?
No, as of right now, we have, 15 though.
Oh
So, I
wow,
mean,
that's pretty good. Yeah.
I'm in the process of making buttons.
Oh, that's cute.
And just randomly passing them out, and
that's another good marketing thing.
And placing flyers wherever I can, and yeah. So.
Yeah. Then that's another thing with marketing. Since you get a club allocation, I'm actually going to circle back to that really quick. you can also fundraise as a club. So if you're wanting to do an event where you do a fundraiser, you get 2 different pots technically. So you get allocation from SGA, and then you get your fundraising pot. If you fundraise any money, that money stays like forever. It doesn't disappear at the end of the year like your allocation does. So that's why we recommend you spend your allocation first, because that money will go away. But if you have fundraising money, that's also extra money you can use. And right now, since I guess you're technically in still like a waiting period where you don't have allocation, if you were to able to start fundraising money like today, you could use that money to buy marketing materials too.
Okay. And then back to that again, you said the $250 will come each semester, but we're in a waiting period until when?
So right now, I'd have to ask Chaz to double check, because it was GSA last semester. So they were active. And since we had to shut down with COVID and everything, I don't know if you'll be given your allocation for the fall. I'm going to assume yes, because you were a club last semester. But if you were like a brand new, like a weightlifting club that started like this week, you would have to wait till spring to get your allocation. But I'm going to say with a little bit of certainty that you will probably get your allocation for fall, just because you were a club last semester. But I'm not 100% certain, because I'm not the boss.
I think that's all I have for right now.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. On the agenda, I have announcements in good of the order, which announcements are basically if you have anything that's like, hey, this event's happening, like Pride is having an event next Tuesday, that would be kind of an announcement section. And then good of the order is kind of like laying down everything. Like, I just wanted to bring this up, like in our e-board meetings, for example, like I got my passport. That's a good of the order thing. It doesn't really relate to the meeting at all, but it's just kind of like a throw things around kind of section.
Gotcha.
But yeah, that's all I really had for this meeting.
Okay. And then can you get me the club packet, my dear?
Yes, I will get that to you. I'm going to go ahead and stop the recording and close it out, and I'll get you the club packet.
Perfect. Thank you.
Let's see.